Hey, welcome to an LA Life podcast. It's a Wednesday. Here we are again, just sharing a little bit of stuff with you midweek. Just really kind of a midweek pickup, something you can hear, listen to, think about in between the Sunday visits that you have. One of the things I do want to make mention just kind of quickly is it is farm season now, so our farmers are out in the fields. I know it's raining, so it's kind of halted. But they're going to be out in the fields on the roads. And so be praying for them, be thinking about them. We've got several farmers in our building, in our community, and they've got lots of things to get done. And so we just pray for a good harvest for all of them. Today, let me share a little bit. We're in the middle of a love series in church on Sundays. We're in 1 Corinthians 13. And we've landed here now, and it's going to be 5, 6, 7 weeks. And so on the midweek, we've also landed there. And we've been kind of sharing a few things with you. I want to read again from 1 Corinthians 13. I'm just going to begin in verse 4. And remember, the Apostle Paul is telling the church in Corinth as well as us, there's a better way. There's a more excellent way to do this. And he's pointing back to love. Listen to what he says. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. And so if you notice in there, he has some positive things about love. And then he says, this isn't love. And so on Sundays, we're kind of in this middle section about what love is not. Here's what he says. Love is not envy or boasting. It's not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing. And so I wanted to take just one word out of that today and kind of look at it. I've got a book here that I use as some reference for me, but I want to look at this idea of rude. Love is not rude. And if you would think about what that is, think about a definition of rude, right? I don't necessarily have the definition in front of me, but rude would be, you're not being polite, you're not being kind, you're not being nice to, you're being disrespectful to somebody else. You could add some more words to that, but Paul says that's not what love is. And if you take a look at the Greek word for rude, it's actually this word that means to act unbecomingly. Right? To act unbecomingly. And if you dig down deeper into what that word is, it means to lack proper shape. You lack a proper shape. And so this morning I brought in this example of Play-Doh. And so Play-Doh, just by itself, is just kind of a blob. It just kind of is what it is. It doesn't have a proper shape. I guess you could say it's kind of circle or round. But the idea of Play-Doh is for it to be formed and to be shaped. And so if you've got kids or grandkids, you understand the idea of Play-Doh. You'd get this out, and then you had these little shapes that you could squeeze over the top of them, and it would impress upon them into a certain shape. You could create a dinosaur. You could create a cat. You could create all sorts of things with it. And yet the Apostle Paul says that love is not shapeless. Love is not just a blob that is unbecoming, that isn't good. He tries to explain this. Love has a shape. It has something that you can see. And I wonder how many times throughout our week or throughout our days that we kind of act like this Play-Doh, where we're just kind of a blob, where we're just really not a shape of any kind. We're just kind of existing. In fact, maybe our love is kind of rude. I bet if you look back, you'll be able to find some times, and maybe even today, that you've been able to see this. But there's one thing that I want us to see here this morning, and it's a word that explains to us there is a shape of what love looks like. And I'm just going to read it out of this book this morning. This is in 1 Corinthians chapter 9. The Apostle Paul says, "For though I am free from all, I have made myself a servant to all, that I might win more of them." That's 1 Corinthians 9:19. See, the Apostle Paul says there's actually a shape that you and I can have, and it's a shape that's going to look like love and sound like love, and that's the shape of service. I've talked about this word a lot. This is a word for me over this last year plus that has really started to mean a lot. It's the idea of I'm going to take a position of service. I'm going to take a position of table waiter. Diakonos is the Greek word there. And so it means I'm going to take a lesser position to serve other people. And that shape of service looks like love, sounds like love, and it is love. And so I think when we look at today and at what the Apostle Paul teaches, love is not rude. It's not shapeless. It's not just this blob that exists and is taking up space. No, love is service. Love has a shape and love has a form, and people are able to see it and to identify with it. And so there you go. There's just some real simple midweek teaching for you today. I don't know what kind of shape you're in. Hopefully you're more than just this blob that is existing. Hopefully you've got a shape of love. Join us here on Sunday. We're going to be here at 9 o'clock and 10:30. We're going to continue in this series of loving better, learning how to love better. When we learn how to love better, our community of people around us feel that love, and lives begin to change because of it. Join us this week. We're going to take a look at more of this stuff. Love you guys. Have a great day.